but because of his daughter, potentially, right, he actually is trying to take a different path. Is that true?
At one point, he said he should do, like, he got a really good job for his, like, daughter because he has to, like, raise enough money for his daughter.
Okay.
What? Baskin Robbins. That guy was creepy, though.
Okay. So I agree that would be a foil. I agree. Does anybody else have any other examples? Yes.
Like, who's all seen Pirates of the Caribbean?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Jack Sparrow. No, Jack Sparrow and not Will. It's the other guy. He's
from the new one?
No. He's in every single one. He's like always his side.
Is that the one?
Okay.
Gray hair and a gray. He's like really.
Is that the one with the monkeys?
Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow and. Okay. So Jack Sparrow and his comrade, right? Another pirate. And you said this.
Gabe Ork. Sorry.
I need to say his name real quick so he can.
Gabe. No, it starts with a G, I promise.
Okay.
This is the only downfall. They all like know all these movies, and I'm like,
I know.
Okay, I don't know these movies either.
I've watched them, but usually I fall asleep when I watch them. Yes.
Do you say pirate? Do you say Caribbean or Caribbean?
Caribbean.
It depends on the day.
Well,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I
would go for
For
Caribbean
the movie,
first.
I say Caribbean, but for the ocean,
you say
it's the
Caribbean. Yeah.
Just me. Look at his face. You'll recognize him right away.
Yeah, just me. Wait.
What's
his last name?
Is his name Shmee?
Hey.
Is his character Shmee?
Yeah,
Hey, Josh. Hey, Bryce, turn it off now. Is his name Shmee? His character name, so we can get on with the conversation.
No, it's like Joe Hasmi or something.
Joe Shmee. No, look at his last name.
Shmee. Yeah, we'll call it Shmee.
We'll call him Shmee?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about Jack Sparrow and Shmee.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is Shmee a foil for Jack Sparrow?
Okay, so they're both pirates and they have like,
Right.
the same intentions for treasure and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like Jack Sparrow's just like dumb. Like he's just and then Shmee is actually like smart, like he thinks through things.
Okay.
And Jack Sparrow's like comes to him, he's like, this is our plan, we're gonna do this.
Okay.
And Shmee's always like, oh, I don't know if we, and he's just like, yeah, we're doing it.
Okay.
Because she's always like, I don't know, that's not smart.
So Shmee thinks things through.
Yeah.
And has
Captain
some.
Sparrow's like reckless.
Yes, Captain Sparrow is very reckless. Okay, but they're both pirates and they both have similar goals.
Yeah.
Yes, but it shows and it's so interesting that Jack Sparrow's plans in the end eventually.
He shows
right?
Jack Sparrow like when he messes up, I think. So when he messes up, he kind of shows him like in the last movie when like he has like no luck and he like keeps on messing up his life. And when he tries to steal the gold.
And Shmee's words kind of come back.
It kind of comes
to
back. Like maybe he says, Jack, maybe you lost your luck. It's just like.
Oh yeah.
You should have used common sense or thought things through, not just luck, not just based on luck. Okay, good. Anybody else have anything else you want to add to this idea of foil and protagonist? Okay, another idea we're going to talk about is static versus dynamic. Who can tell me the difference here? Yes, Emily.
I forgot.
Okay, yes, Michael.
A static character, does that not change?
Does not change.
Yeah.
Changes.
Dynamic changes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
so
It
when
evolves.
they face the challenge that they're facing, the conflict that they're facing in the story, a static character basically stays the same. In the end, they're the same person. A dynamic character changes because of the conflict. Yes.
So would that be Ransford?
Which one do you think Ransford is?
Dynamic.
You think dynamic? Okay, tell me why.
Because like at the beginning of the story, he didn't really care like about the fear of any animals that he was hunting.
Right.
But like when he started getting hunted, he like changed the way he felt and how he felt about like hunting the other animals and stuff.
But then Zaroff is static because he doesn't change throughout the whole story, no matter how hard.
He doesn't
Ransford feels like
change.
that's wrong. You shouldn't kill people.
Right, right. And there's elements of Ransford that don't change. That character, that conviction, right? That we don't hunt people, right? But we kind of start to see him experience the fear of being hunted. And we imagine that potentially he's changed his tune about the idea of hunting and fear and that sort of thing. So yes, I would agree. What else can we think of? Static versus dynamic.
In
Yes.
The Hobbit, Bilbo
Okay.
Baggins starts out like he likes to stay at home, have everything organized, doesn't like adventure, but after
Right.
the story ends, he likes adventures. He likes
Heads
going
off
out and
again,
doing
right?
stuff.
Okay, so Bilbo Baggins, when he's faced with all of what he's faced and he's thrust into this adventure, he ends up becoming someone who thrives or who loves adventure instead of just someone who wants to stay at home. Okay, who else? Another character. Give me some examples of static character as well.
Evil people usually.
Evil people usually, okay?
Evil.
Scar.
Like the antagonist typically stays the same.
The antagonist usually stays the same.
Loki.
Yeah.
Loki.
No.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Have you not seen Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Have you not seen
Yeah.
Ragnarok? Even at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
he's like, I know you haven't
seen
changed,
it.
Loki. And he still tries to trick Thor.
No,
He's
Thor
still
is I mean, Loki is never like.
He
gonna
never
be a good guy,
pretends he
and
changed.
he's gonna be a
Don't
good
yeah,
guy.
don't we
He's gonna be
wonder
a bad
if
guy.
maybe he
No,
finally has
He has
I've
good
lost
and
hope
bad.
with him.
He's
He's
never-
never going to be good.
Okay,
He's not
so
gonna be
Josh
good.
is also
bad.
he thinks that the dynamic change that he is a
He
pretending.
pretends.
He's
That
gonna
it's-
be a
Yeah,
good guy.
he's a
in
That
the
it's
pretender.
not
That's
actually.
the
He's
whole
actually
goal.
still.
A little bit.
He's changed his death
Psyche, he's going to kill Iron Man or something.
Take all the Infinity Stones for himself.
Okay. Okay, so I think you guys get the idea of static versus dynamic. What about flat versus round? Who can tell me? Yes, Michael.
Oh shoot. Oh,
wait,
flat
whoa,
characters. Oh, I think
man.
flat characters have like little detail, and
Okay.
round characters are like usually like juicy and like big.
Yeah.
A lot of detail.
They're juicy characters. Okay, so the author has developed their character
Yeah.
very well, right? You kind of feel like you know the person, right? Like you guys have been pretty close friends for a while. You've had some deep conversations. You know that person really well. A flat character, you don't know that well. You wouldn't call them, a close friend by the end of it. Okay? It's not as well developed as a round character. Okay? So then we're going to talk a little bit just about this idea, the difference between direct characterization and indirect.
I did that too.
Direct characterization versus indirect. So give me an example of direct characterization.
That was on a separate piece of paper.
Is that like physical things where it says they have red hair?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a
Yes.
ball. He's a
So
boy,
this is
small.
the author either directly gives characterization or indirectly helps you understand the character the character beneath the character. Does this make sense? Helps you understand more about who the person is. Either the author does it directly or the author does it indirectly. So yes, a description of who that character looks like would be just kind of direct. Yes.
So indirect would be like assuming. So like if I
Something
say-
that you need to infer is the word I want us to use. Something you infer.
So if,
Yes.
Like I say, like this boy's on a travel team, we would assume that he's good at basketball.
Yes, absolutely. So the author would tell you that he is on a travel basketball team. Okay. So from that, we as the reader would
So that's-
infer he's pretty good. He's a pretty
that's
decent
indirect.
player. That would be, what you're gaining, the knowledge that you're gaining about him being a pretty good player
That's
is
a good
indirect. Does that make sense? Yeah. I do understand your point. What you're saying is, wait a second, the author has directly told us that he's on a traveling basketball team. But the author has not directly told us he's a pretty good player. Do you see that? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, yes.
The part I didn't get
Mhm.
for indirect was the character's actions.
The character's actions. Because when you see that someone, maybe the author is telling you that their expression changed or their demeanor changed, they've taken action, or they've said something, or they walked out of the room, or they stormed off, or they smiled, right? Whatever they're doing in response to what just happened, you're getting an understanding of who they are without the author saying, okay, so the person is angry because blah, 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 right? The author didn't tell you that, but you
So-
see their actions and you infer how they feel, who they are, because of how they're responding to whatever's happening around
so
them.
you could say, like, he walked out the door without a word, and so then you could infer that he's mad at whoever is talking to him.
Exactly.
But his
And
action
then
was, he walked out the door, but that's like direct. It's
It,
saying he
yeah,
walked
his
out.
his
Walked out
action
the
is
door.
direct, but you're getting information about who he is indirectly. Does this make sense? Because you saw what happened before he walked out the door, and you're inferring because of his actions who he is because of his response to what happened before.
Make assumptions, people.
Okay? Do you guys see this? This is going to be part of, let me see. Part of your characterization.
Homework?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
the other
You really
page?
think we weren't gonna get
It's
more?
pages
No, I
86,
didn't.
pages 86 and 87 in your book. You're going to fill out based on the story, The Necklace, which I'm hoping that we're going to start to read here in just a second so that we can get through it today. Okay?
I didn't like our last story, Cinderella.
What was that?
Yes, the story of Cinderella. Yes, was that a little bit? Is that a little bit different than what you? Okay. Hey guys, there's one
There
other
were
thing.
two endings there, right?
There was, and I'm so sorry that there was no information to get that. I was very confused as well. Okay, so guys, there's another part in your book that you're going to be reading about. You're going to be reading about the ideas of fate, chance, and providence. Who wants to take a stab at what fate might mean, chance, and providence? Any
So
ideas?
is fate like
What-
they're supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Death.
Like it's going to happen eventually, whether they like it or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
like
the
that.
chance is like, well, if you go left, you get this, and if you go right, you get this.
Exactly. What about providence?
I have no idea.
They have
college.
They have a
Providence is
direct choice.
What's that?
They have a,
Providence.
Yeah.
they're not so sure. I have no idea what.
Any ideas? Providence.
Like there's just you just don't know.
Okay, so as a Christian, what's our Christian worldview on why things happen?
God. Oh, because the force.
Oh, so is it like they know that there's a greater?
Force.
We have
Direct-
God, right, who is in charge of things. Scripture speaks to us. Scripture speaks to God works all things for our good, right? He is alive and he's active, right, in our lives.
Yeah.
This is the idea of providence. Okay? Yes, do we have free will? Absolutely. Do we make mistakes and bad things happen? Absolutely. Does God control everything that happens to us?
No.
He doesn't bring temptation into our life. He doesn't make bad things happen. He allows bad things to happen. But his word tells us that he is alive and active and working in all of those things for our best. Okay? So this is the idea of providence. Chance is it's going to be what it's going to be. Who knows? It could be this. It could be that. You really need to take personal responsibility, huge personal responsibility. It's up to you as to make things potentially happen one way, but they could happen another way. Providence is, yes, we have responsibility, right? God gave us a free will, but we have a God that's working and active, and he's benevolent. He loves us. He wants what's best. That doesn't mean he wants what's easy. That doesn't mean he wants to make us happy all the time. Sometimes hard is what makes us strong and grows us, right? But he is alive and active, and he is in favor of our best. He's there to help us become our best and become more Christ-like, okay? The idea of fate, though, there's these Greek characters. There are three sisters. I'm not remembering their name. It starts with an M. And the idea of fate, the fates, exactly. The idea of the idea of the fates is that there's some kind of evil, well, not really evil, but they don't care about who you are. They really don't care. The fate for you, Emily, is that you are going to XYZ, right? You're going to live this long, and this is going to be the end of your life, and it's going to just take a downward spiral towards the end, right? And the fate for Ethan is that he's going to have a big, long life, and he's going to see success and a little bit of failure and success and a little bit of failure and success and a little failure. We don't care really who Ethan is. We don't care how much work he puts into things. It doesn't matter. Ethan's fate is going to be this, and Emily's faith is going to be, or fate is
Your
going to be
fate's
this.
looking great.
Okay?
That's all you have to do is step back.
So there's going to be a little bit of question when we go into doing that prep for that essay based on the main character of The Necklace, which we're going to read in a little bit. The question that you're going to be responding to is whether it was just fate that this would happen to the character, or whether what happens to her is a result of her actions and her choices. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of discussion about this, but we wanted to introduce these three terms to you because you'll see these ideas in the books that you read. You'll see the worldview of the author when you see how they develop this idea of chance and fate and providence. Okay?
So in Percy Jackson, it has.
In
fate
Percy Jackson.
all the time.
In Percy Jackson.
Yeah, like fate is like the main point of the.
Okay, well, and you can see why, right?
Yeah.
It's a Greek.
Basically, in each
philosophy idea?
series, it has like a prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's like the fate of one person, depending on like what. It also is also a chance